First of all, we should reflect our enlightenment thought that on behalf of attaining the complete enlightenment thought, I should listen to teaching. In order to live this life, even though without engaging in spirituality, just spending one's life positively, this life can also be successful. However, at the time of dying, there is no other mean except the genuine spirituality, which is beneficial. It is said in sutras by many analogies or examples. For example, as like for the disease, for the ill person, the medicine is required, and for the destitute or the poor person, the wealth is required. In order to go abroad, we need money, and in order to go outside, far away, we need a car or aeroplane or so on. And for the hungry people, it is essential to have the food. Now Rinpoche is going to impart some teaching on the causes and effect. If it is asked how the outer environment, the country's outer environment, and the different kinds of sentient beings and different kinds of happy states and suffering states, if it is how these arise.
Chulu kake ju meba le shun, kake kenjo shevale sangendo yore de sonje besuna jujin cho devale shunwi, jujin cho wale trubi, tender is
There are many many schools, ancient schools, who claim that these all arise without a cause. Some claim that these all are created. All these are created by a God. But however, the Buddha pointed out that these all arise from the composition of the causes and conditions. The outer environmental constituent is, of course, as a product. Of course, is the product of the common result is the product of the common karmic deeds of the inhabitants. And for example, one's own individual body, it is the result of one's own birth. It is the result of one's own personal karmic deed.
There's a life of a letter, Migeva, Geva, Luma Tangles, Sum Shazali. Tombo Migeva tele, Migi le Kandaimba. Let take a rebel con Shigeva. Then I take it to do that Migi let the Pongo some. That's a sum.
So, as for the karmic deeds, there are three classifications: the unwholesome, wholesome, and neutral deeds. And as for the first, we should reflect on it from the viewpoint of the nature. It's from the viewpoint of nature, and how the non-virtue deeds produce the negative results, and knowing that its nature is negative, the result is negative, we should resolve to overcome the negative deeds.
Let me give us a Khenchen salary, Khenchen, Nyamomba. That's how he don't Timusum Korungi Shevi, let the Congale, Migevas, lessons, showers.
Any of the actions, karma, deeds or karma refers to our actions. Any of the actions performed out of the motivation of the three poisons, ignorant, hatred, and desirous attachment, are referred as the unwholesome or non-virtue deeds.
That's how Devi Juchen Tesole, Revashiva, Gavoshiva. He don't sana dunga net tesole, Megawa, Sam Trubashiva. Timu sana Lonja Kayi, Toja Kayi, Hamogute.
In order to define these three poisons, our what's say, individual negative emotion, three root negative emotions. The desirous attachment refer to the emotion which desirously aspire or attach towards the positive worldly dharma, and hatred refers to the emotion, negative emotion, which is a nature of irritation by facing unfavorable sort of conditions. And ignorance refers to our negative emotions, ignorance refers to the negative emotion which is ignorant of what actions to be adopted and what actions to be refrained from.
Then let me give a mumbo yorete, let me give a check to do, let me give a choose somebody.
Although there are many kinds of the non-virtue actions performed by the ordinary beings, in the teaching it is condensed into the most gross non-virtue actions are classified into 10 kinds. Within the 10 kinds of non-virtue deeds, it is divided into 3 actions of three physical non-virtue actions, and 4 verbal non-virtue actions, and 3 mental non-virtue actions.
So Jabasangate, some Hindu, Masam Nepena, Rovikapso Kun and Bushes one, so Jebi Niva Yomari, some Hindu, Segu Samgu.
So the killing, the first of the physical non-virtue actions, refer to the action of killing, which is committed with the motivation to kill. For instance, when we step on the ants accidentally without motivation, it is not an action of killing.
Manarwaji gore, Bename, Tidraj says some Yandaji Sego Yana, Tele Sojebi Nivayamani.
And also it should be unmistaken. Unmistaken means the object of killing. The object of killing must be unmistaken. For instance, one was to kill John. If one accidentally kill Stephen, then there is no killing the fault of killing action.
Ron Sena Sojebi Niva Mary Yenji Sego.
And it also has to be other beings. If one committed suicide, it is not a full action of killing. The killing.
The never see Jembe de Gadu Hisuna Hivi Gapsu Tenusu Jebiniva.
The actual fault of killing, the actual actual fault of killing befall on you whenever the other beings, whether human or animals, whenever it dies after being harmed by you, by us. Not only killing by oneself directly, but also sending someone to kill others is also referred as the actual killing.
Nimba Majimba Lamba Sankante Kumakubari, the Kumate Zembo said, Musu Lona Onda, Guna Matona said, Guna Chibari.
Second physical non-virtue is stealing. Stealing has two kinds. Whether we steal or whether we steal silently, or whether we take other beings' belongings by force.
Some Yendu, Kusam Goguyari, some Yendu, Manorwaji Goguyari.
And this second action of non-virtue also has to have the aspects of motivated by aspects of motivation, thought of killing, as well as unmistaken. And also, if we send someone to steal, it is also the same. Third of the physical non-virtue deeds, the sexual misconduct. There are 4 kinds of sexual misconducts. Inappropriate object, such as Rangichuma Mahimba. Such as beings the beings which are not one's own wife. And inappropriate place, such as in front of the shrines. inappropriate times means engaging in sexual misconduct, engaging in sexuality in a daytime, and also when the wife is pregnant. And the fourth one is inappropriate branches.
Norva yena to loyem ki neba mesure maison seva tabu yena normal seva menda manor was
And in order to be the actual sexual misconduct, this action also has to have the aspect of unmistaken. There's no befalling of the sexual misconduct to oneself by sending someone to do the action, to eat. The sexuality is also if sexuality is being committed or being performed out of the negative emotion, afflictions, out of the afflictions, then it is non-virtue deeds. But the mere sexuality is not counted in the 10 non-virtue deeds. With regard to the actions, the three kinds of physical, what you call actions, performed out of the negative emotions, these actions can be committed out of any of the three poisons. So, for example, the killing action, the action of killing, being committed out of the desirous attachment, refers to the action of killing being done out of the motivation to collect money, or in order to have a delicious non-vegetarian meat, the desirous non-vegetarian food, a desirous attachment towards the non-vegetarian food, and desirous attachment towards collecting money, and out of that motivation, if someone kills, that action is killing committed from the desirous attachment. Killing committed out of hatred or anger, for example, is like killing one's own enemy out of anger. And killing being committed out of ignorance is for example sacrificing animals to the gods or whatever, in order to that killing is committed out of ignorance. All the rest of Rinpoche has given only example on the killing action. All the other remaining non-virtues can be classified from the viewpoint of motivation as.
They on some Hindu, then Kegu some there. Then going on to lap there, laps at the Kosuna, then make a Zoboli.
Now the lying, the non-virtue, the verbal non-virtue. The first, the lying. Lying refers to our lying speech. That also has to be motivated, with a motivation to lie, and telling lie. And when the other person hurts the meaning, then one the lying action or lying non-virtue arise.
Chama singer the Paraponi, Tembo Inanda, Metemba Inanda, Deni Metemba Sugu some catch a Dembaina, Zambaina, Konuru Kene, make a Kosuna, then Chama make a Shebari.
Second, the columnist speech refers to our verbal action, whether it is being verbal expression, whether verbal expression to make verbal expression or to make a statement to others verbally, whether it is stated out of whether it is stated to divide the other friends, other the friends and so on, or whether it is expressed or stated whether it is stated rightly or wrongly, in order to divide the other friends and so on. That speech, the colonymous speech, then it becomes a colonymous speech.
Situp Sanga the Miguel Techevati Casa Sanja Cheva, De Koguru, Konaniva.
Third verbal non-virtue deeds is the malicious speech. Malicious speech refers to our making criticism or blaming others, criticizing or blaming others. If the other person to whom we blame here, this speech, then it becomes the actual malicious speech. The fourth verbal non-virtue deeds is idle or irrelevant speech. Idle speech, which says it is very pervasive. The fourth verbal speech is very pervasive. So whatever speech we make, whatever speech or statement or oral expression we make out of any of the defilements, it becomes idle or irrelevant speech. For instance, out of the desirous achievements towards the sound of the song, and we sing the song. That is also the idle speech. For instance, desiring to gain some offering or some wealth from the donors or sponsor, we make a speech of praising towards the donors. That praising speeches becomes the idle speech. And also gossiping about the war, gossiping about the prostitute, and so on.
Then Chulu Jandaki, you so easy to go and the mother.
And also reciting the others' religious book out of believing in their doctrine. In this fourth aspect, there's no aspect of whether it is heard by other or not. Just by orally performing the above kinds of actions, it becomes the actual actions. All the four faults of verbal, through expressing all the four actions can also become a completion of the actions. So very important point to know here is that Rinpoche says that any of the seven any of the seven negative actions, when we counted them in the non-virtue deeds, we say negative actions. Any of the seven negative actions, the three negative actions, physical negative action, and the four verbal negative actions. These, in order to become a negative as well as non-virtuous deeds, any of these has to be motivated. These has to be committed out of the afflictive emotions, out of the defiled emotions, defiled motivations. Otherwise, it is not these actions, these seven actions, killing and so on, killing up to the idle speech, the physical performance and the verbal performance, these actions can become the virtues as well.
Then nasam sangate yang longche mi yanda jiga longche nge tawa segu sam tache chewa.
Now to go further into the three kinds of mental non-virtue deeds. The first, covetousness. This is a sort of only a thought generating within one's mind. It's a mental action. It's thought generating out of desirous attachment towards other beings' belongings, and wishing to have such belongings to oneself. That wish or thought is known as covetousness. Oh no, sorry. Rinpoche just clarifies to me that from the mental, from the deep inside the mind, when the covetous arise, this mental emotion, this negative mental emotion, decides to, out of the motivation to gain the others' attractive belongings, and then innerly decides to obtain them. that kind of thought is known here as covetousness.
Nesem Jibari, Yen never see girls on Santa Cheva.
And the second one is a ill will or malicious thought. That is also a thought. It's a kind of thought, deciding inwardly or innerly to mentally, deciding inwardly, mentally to harm other beings.
Lota Sangate, let Junde me say Nachi Sankim, Yamare, can chew Demba Marie Samne, Tessam Shepherd Semari, Torture Shepherd, made torture is some.
And the tenth non-virtue is the wrong view, the mental action. That refers to our misconception, one kind of our misconception, which decides that there is no any existence of triple gem in relative truth. There is no karma and deed. There is no karma and deed, and there is no the higher trainings and results of the higher trainings and so on. This has to be, in order to become an actual wrong view. The thought should generate the decision. If someone, thinks that if someone thinks that there is no triple gem, there's no existence of triple gem out of the uncertainty or out of doubt, then that doesn't become wrong view. Among the earlier seven non-virtue deeds, the earlier, for example, the killing killing possess greater. Action of killing is known to be a greater possess a greater faults. Among the three kinds of mental non-virtue deeds, the latter, for example, the wrong view, is possess a greater fault than the malicious thought. Now, which is going to impart some explanation on the result of the non-virtue deeds. There are several kinds of results. The first one is a fully ripened result, and the fully ripened results of all the 10 non-virtue deeds. The fully ripened results of all the non-virtue deeds is to reborn the lower realms. And and among the 10 non-virtue deeds, they are classified into three within the 10 non-virtue deeds. They are classified into three kinds: greater, middling, and lesser. The greater killing, action of killing, middling action of killing, lesser action of killing, for example. So the definition or the definition of greater means that if the killing action is being committed and after that, then the killing action, greater can be from the four aspects. Greater can be known as from the four aspects. From the aspect of committing such action again and again. Such action committing again and again, committing again and again, and not to feeling regret after being committed. Instead of feeling regret, if one feels joyous, or if one rejoices, in another word, if one rejoices in one's own killing action, and then that killing actions become the greater killing actions. And if the action is being committed, the killing action is being committed out of the middling of those aspects, then the action of killing is counted as middling. And of course, the aspects are being the lesser aspects. Then the action of killing becomes the lesser killing. And the greater action of non-virtue deeds befalls us or propels us to the hell realm in the next life, in our next life. And the middling action of non-virtue deeds brings results as to reborn in the hungry ghost realm, and the lesser action of non-virtue deeds propels us in the realm of animal in our next life.
Yona kanong ko ne, shedong ke kanong te megot shena nyarwa, ndesa ki yeda temu ke gone shena teso ke tondol shewale.
From the viewpoint of motivation, it can also be divided into two. If with regard to the results, the fully ripened result, if any of the non-virtues committed out of desirous attachment, then that action will bring result in the hungry ghost realm. If the action is committed out of the motivation of hatred, then it results in the hell realm. If it is committed out of the ignorance, then it results in the animal realms.
When miji control long chene, le tsien ji la yina. Nyawa si jo cha song zo ta yore.
For example, if someone expresses malicious speech out of strong what you call hatred, that strong hatred, that action is complete. Which is a complete action of complete action that brings the result in the hell ring.
Yon megavatasala devu gyandaji juntang devu sangti yores. Juntang devu tepana megavatasoke tombo devu ngasong somnyong. Tene mele shewa lombayina teru di devu togu yore. The Juntan Dab Sang Tele, Nua Juntan Sang, Sheba Juntan Sang, Chido.
The second kind of result of the non-virtue deeds is result that is consistent, that is similar, result which is similar to the cause, to the causes. These results arise. For example, a hell being, after experiencing the fully ripened results of the non-virtue deeds in any of the three realms, and when the lower realm beings ascend to the higher realms, then such results similar to the causes arise again. There are two kinds of results similar to the causes. One is the experience or the feeling, the experience, the resultant experience which is similar to the cause, and the actions, the actions which is similar to the cause. As for the first, experience similar to the cause. For example, when a lower realm beings ascend and take rebirth in the higher realm as a human form, then he experienced the short span of life. That short span of life is an experience similar to the action of killing, the cause, the action of killing.
This one. Then Sheba Junta Singer, the Nama Su Che the Vayina, Su Che Nitomo, Su Che Balagawa, Kumaja Balagawa to the woman.
The second kind of the resultant action. I would say resultant action similar to the resultant action similar to the cause. Means the cause means cause refer to the killing, action of killing being committed many years back, many years ago. So resultant action similar to the cause. This is like while being born born in a higher realm as a human being. For example, human being naturally there is a wish to engage in the killing. That sort of engage in the wish. Naturally, the wish naturally comes and then naturally engage in the killing. That kind of action, killing actions in the human form realm is a resultant action similar to the cause.
Today we can that year the show you to the man. Bena so jena sashu zindong making Majimba Lona, Charvamo Travandavo, Loyam Sena, then Sashu Dutri Devandavo, Sasachovo, Tindale, Shevale, Tindale, Jalim would Nashi.
And there's another result of the non-virtuous deeds. It is still not clear in English version, but I have found in the earlier version result of ownership. They say this results of our actions ripens outward say, in the environment. For example, because of the result of ownership of the killing, one will born as a human being in a place in a place which is not very attractive, and so on.
Tene bena lumba cho tene drive te so yabo me tene samari te so zubolo yabo mente nasa chiba tene ke lumba le maru da mu ya jinze duba chiya sa kuma mombo ya sa yabo te so migewa kan drive.
And also the countryside or the places, the countrysides or the places where there is no fertile and good production of agriculture, even though there grows a fruit or vegetables or whatever, and they don't benefit, or they don't they harm the inhabitants' health, and the place where there is where the war often occur, and where there are many kinds of many kinds of the thieving, action of stealing, action of diagotis, don't know. These are all the result of ownership.
Donna dungar konga do torigan songa mendeba konga te megem.
In brief, all the sufferings, all the unfavorable incidents within us, around us, are the result of our non-virtuous action.
Jazata de some go a mega singate, only do what I can church into Jaza, the Mombo say, or there's a Chinese and do some Jabba say. That's in the soul of now, Divatan and Misism, down some shape.
That is why, therefore, we should now resolve in ourselves that from now on, I will not commit a sin. I will not commit a non-virtuous action. Even I face a danger of my life. Danger of my life. If we resolve within ourselves like that way, out of regretting the past, regretting in the past, regretting in committing non-virtue deeds in the past, and resolving not to commit the non-virtues from now on in the future. This kind of resolvement, mental resolvement, sincere mental resolvement, the purifies the earlier sins, and it blocks oneself to commit the non-virtue deeds in the future as well. That is why it is so important to engage ourselves in the confession, confession, and to do it. There are four powers. The power of regret, number sunjiba, power of regret, and or power of resentment. The power of resentment, power of the shrine, and power of antidote, and power of resolving.
Nyambo kendo shebe top sangatele true song yore te ndode loba.
And the power, with regard to the power of resentment, it is very clear that we feel sort of regret or resentment in our past actions. And the power of the antidote, power of engaging in the antidotes, intensively engaging, power of intensively engaging in the antidotes. There are 6 kinds, which says the Dodilogba means reciting the sutra, for such as reciting the sutra. The second, among the six kinds of power of intensively engaging in the antidotes. Second is to familiarizing ourselves in the emptiness.
Third
is to deba. Third is to engage in the repetition. Deba. Repetition of the scripture. And fourth is to construct or build a statue of Buddha. Fifth is to make offering again and again to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, statue of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The sixth is to memorize the different names of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and reciting them repeatedly or again and again. So we have to, Rinpoche advises us to, after committing unknowingly or knowingly the non-virtuous deeds, we should try to confess them right away through just visualizing as in the seven limbs prayers of, as in the first 2 lines of the 7 limbs prayers of He Vajra Sadhana, reciting the 2 lines. I take refuge in the triple jam. I would say converse individually all the sins through reciting and thinking of that. That time you just you think of the triple jam, and through that power it lessen the strength of the non-virtues we have just committed.
Geva shugi, geva sangate, dasha meba, hedon meba, tibu meba sangage, geva sum yore, sam geva. Te sum to yona tevando, te su kinna zombi, shava te so, geva shugi yore.
Now he is going to impart brief teaching on the virtuous deeds. There are three root virtuous deeds. Non-desirous attachment, non-hatred, and non-ignorance. Although there are many other, such as actions, many others virtuous deeds, many other virtuous actions, invoked or performed out of genuine faith, compassion, loving kindness, and so on.
Tenete Kanho Titone, Migawa to Mizisam, Tamcha Seate. Yona Ganita Dambalon, Temena Migawa town and Mizisam, Ponsam said, Tamcha Sevatel, Gava to Sayo.
From the motivation of these three kinds of virtues, virtue, resolving or promising oneself not to engage in the non-virtue deeds. Non-virtue deeds, that kind of resolvement is known as the virtue deeds.
Driver check, Tachiba and Megawala Kodogana. No man there, Tori Toby, Tori is loud on me.
As a fully ripened result of the virtuous deeds, one would say, take rebirth, or one attain the births of the higher realm.
Yoma Jumtan did so Japumbe Cerimala Soba.
And as a result similar the resultant experience similar to the cause, similar to the virtuous deed, is for example like being long life, or being a person with the length of the lifespans. And the resultant action similar to the virtuous deed, in the similar to the cause, is, for example, the wish to engage in the virtuous deeds again and again. And the result of the virtuous deeds, the result of the ownership of the virtuous deeds is, of course, the better, the beautiful, the attractive environment, and then having a luxurious clothes and food and so on. And furthermore, if these virtuous deeds, the 10 virtuous deeds, are being performed out of the inferior enlightenment thought of Hinayana, then these action leads to the stage of arhatship, the inferior liberation. If these 10 actions are being performed out of the Mahayana enlightenment thought, then they lead one to the complete enlightenment. And furthermore, there are among the virtuous deeds and non-virtuous deeds, they differ. They differ in greater powerful. They differ in a lesser powerful and greater powerful. For example, if someone here do the circumambulation every day, and if someone does circumambulation for only one day, the action of circumambulating on that very day, the one who does every day is a more powerful virtue deed.
Then come who chamber chaba to who check you. Ome the Shegush one out the so gedi kind of chun.
Likewise, if the actions, whether virtue or non-virtue, performed out of intensive motivation, and less intensive motivation and greater intensive motivation, less intense of motivation, greater intense of motivation. Even the outer action is same. For example, killing ants together, the killing of ants being committed out of intensive motivation, intensive hatred, is a much powerful action.
Then Yambo members Penna Jeba Chena, Deepa and Jeba Chena, Deepa Chundo, Gaval and Jeba Chena, Gava Chundo. Tagano Yen Lamna, Megavanga Sonsana, Neva Town of Yari. Gava Tending as Java in some million numbers and I gave at the Churutondo.
And also non-availability of the antidote. Non-availability of the antidote. For example, if one would say generates resentment in committing non-virtue deeds, non-virtue deeds, then the non-virtue deeds becomes, the strength of non-virtue deeds becomes lesser. And if we regret in performing virtuous deeds, then the strength of virtue deeds become lesser. Likewise, if we show off our holy sort of holy nature through expressing our good deeds, then this also makes our holy deeds lesser strength.
Then you let Chavare Penna can chul the Penachaba. Pamale Penachana, the top chambuno.
And from the viewpoint of the object, the non-virtuous and non-virtuous deeds can be divided into powerful, greater powerful and less powerful. For example, if we perform virtues towards the triple jam and the parents, this life's parents, such virtue is more powerful than performing the same action towards the other beings.
Tanaka you been to tell each other Sonja to say, Lola to change Tendel Shana, Saya taught Jan Jundo, or somebody. Then you let Chavare, can't you tell get it got Shana top Chavare?
And from the viewpoint of time, it is also it can be known from the viewpoint of time as well. For example, on the special day, on a special day, on a very special day, if we perform a virtuous deeds on a special day, that virtuous deeds becomes more powerful than done it on another day. And also from the viewpoint of object again, in front of performing virtue deeds, committing non-virtue deeds in front of the embodiment of the triple jam, it becomes more powerful.
Pena Meganda was a Ganhong Chavachum, or a Nyamova of Chajun. Somebody Pena, and that's how you can say, whoa, Bumtamo Chevale, Conto, chooses Shena, Neva Cheva.
And also it is pointed out or said that it is more what's they call powerful to commit action, to commit actions out of the slight moment of the hatred or anger, than committing many many negative deeds out of the motivation of desirous attachment.
Then I got somebody leg and devil Kadu Nyongi Amete. Tell a rumba ni or the tombon devil Nyon Mignon ni. You are Mangeba Sangitia, then they never told them out of Mangeba. But not Samba Yin and Canon 7. Then let Dog Cheva tell some devil Nyon neighbor.
It is so important for us to know the other aspects of the actions or the deeds, the karmas. There are two kinds of karmas. The karmas can be classified into two kinds as well. All the 10 virtue deeds, non-virtue deeds can be classified into two as well. The one is the lenyuwa nyeba. One is a karma which definitely produces result, and one is the kind of karma which is not definite, to produce the result. So the actions like for example, the spiritual actions being performed with the distracted mind, this falls into the actions which is not definite to produce the result. And within the karmas or the deeds which definitely produce the result, there are three kinds. First, from the viewpoint of object. For example, if we perform virtue, if we perform good deed not only on behalf of, taking the parents as an object, and if we perform good deeds towards the parents, and either you perform a good deed taking the parents as object, or committing sins taking the parents as object, is much more powerful. So that from the viewpoint of the object, whatever actions being done towards the parents becomes the karma which definitely produce the result. And some other the karmas which definitely produce result. The powerful karma can bring result within this life as well. For example, the actions performed or performed and committed against the parents. And there are also other actions within our actions which will definitely produce result in the next life. And there are many kinds of karmas. The same karma which will definitely produce the result in further next life.
Legend kona chambore te mujin samba chambon je bi lojong de ba nong le. Len de ko kon du be ngo sa chambon du. Den de lojong che go sa de.
Since Rinpoche says that since the karma and result is so important, so important. It is, he advises us to go through or read commentary. Now, he advises us to go through or read the mind training teaching, commentary on the mind training teaching composed by Khenchen Appey.
The Loma thing let's say to the Makian areas of Khenchen di no madu. Yena shena ne Loma thing sing the Yemo ba to give a conge can home my impa. Then Pena Yikuba, Saman Sawanda, Ro and Dubanda with the so, Kulu Kambanda with the Sola, Luma Tankeles.
Neutral action, with regard to the third action, the neutral action, even though it is not in the Koramba's commentary, which
no
says,
Luma Tansele and the Reggie. No, some more so to Luma
neutral actions refers to the actions being done without the motivation of action being done, being done neither the virtuous motivation nor the what you call the defiled motivation, such as taking birth, walking, wearing clothes, and eating, roaming, wandering, out of the neutral motivation, not out of the defiled motivation. If these actions are being done out of the defiled motivation, then these actions they must be counted as a non-virtue state.
They tell and they do cow told you somebody.
Neutral deed, it is also said that the neutral deed doesn't produce any kind of results.
You know, take Gava the Jurgurus, a Casson Chiku, Pena, Manam Jamne, Pena, then do Sanche Tom Jago Doja, then Tabarico Sansanche, Shilling do Koale, Kori Shilud Nogia Sansanche. You could do Chogo, Sanche Tom Jago, Chogo Tabaricosa, Sancheng is Dandala, Manam Chambajana, Loma Tangaletas or Gava the Jurgurus. Then they say to Inane, Roson Tomogova. Tab Kabu Tule, then Yamarele, Sanam was out of Yori, then long and say go.
However, these neutral actions, these actions can be, neutral actions can be transformed into virtuous deeds through wishing, through the positive wish. For example, while going to sit, we should wish that all the beings must attain the Vajra seat. May all the beings attain the Vajra seat. And for example, going outside from the home, or we should wish that may all beings cross the ocean of worldly existence. And while going to sleep, we should generate, in order to transform the sleeping, the whole night sleeping, we should wish that may all beings attain the Dharmakaya.
Sendele Hemba Chen, Sendele by Hemba Chet to send the loot on to Vaina. Then Chu member music and the Chagi, Chuba on Tombo, just a tepe your huri.
So, in brief, if the followers abandons thoroughly or completely the clinging towards this life, then he will become a very, very, very genuine spiritual person. This must be regarded. Such person must be regarded as the most superior spiritual being.
Then Majuna, Chu Shea the then send the Mayimba, send it and I in my somebody go. Send it and I in somebody, and I said, Shima Panchel, Pendo member.
If we are not successful in completely, overcoming the clinging to this life, we should attempt to perform the virtue deeds. Virtue deeds not on behalf of this life. One of the disciples of Adisha asked him that he would undertake a meditation, and Adisha said that you should not undergo, because it is a bad activity. And then he again asked him whether he could impart the teaching, and he said that Adisha replied that it is also a bad action. Then the disciple asked Adisha that then what should I do? And then Adisha emphasized him to give up this life.
Then Sendi and on the Chusena didn't ever Carmanger said to send the man rogres. Shimana Carchil said the Shimana Yawan Rogri, Iran Rogers. Sendi and all the church about the never car to raise the Kanish. That's Sendil can never talk raise.
And someone asked what would be if someone engage in the spirituality out of clinging to this life? Then he replied that the result would be ripen in this life only. And if someone engages in the spiritual action, the virtuous action, for the purpose of next life, then the teacher replied that it will produce result in the next life on.
Sewa Dema Nando Mondo Tori Tobando Tanda Sana Kobi Juri Chu Nandamari Soso Tarba Tobi Chedu Yansana, the Temen Lamri. The Kam di Kayari, Sondia Tobi Chedu Yansangu, Sanjay Tamja and Sondia Tobi Chu Karshana, Sondia Tobi Danu Yansam Dana, and he came back some don't each other.
So though which says there, it may come later, he has given just brief meaning of the 4 lines parting from the 4 attachment. So if the followers engage in the spiritual activities for the purpose of gaining, for the purpose becomes a part of Hinayana. So now the main main thing to know here is that we should attempt our best to perform the virtual activities out of the enlightenment thought, out of the thought to attain enlightenment on behalf of all the sentient beings. On the page 7, English version, on the page 7, the teaching of the four, parting from the four attachments.
This somebody, Tombo send my yimba. Sutum to some gambasum. Tatek legacy to yede. Then send the Lamina Dovate, Shoba Menti Shola Show. Send it and that's ever in the children, there's somebody. Then I got to do it.
Injidilla.
Oh,
So.
those are never tell.
Injidi Chiguchipa Medwala. Nanyema song, huh?
Nimba injury, they would Nimba.
They would never see.
Siba,
Didn't Dikagar.
red, they won't do the Jiba injury.
Then Injidi, Jurjoj to a did younger.
La
Inji Jursha Josh to Tima Yangoran. Inji Koran Jurjubachi to Allah.
just say, Tene,
Tima Shire.
ready. Those are the same thing. No,
That you can't imagine then I'm your Kagina.
La,
Then I had to go Koran Remindwala. Kadinjin Lamatan said,
just a time going at the GK, but don't send my yamba.
I would say the Mashamba.
CJ, you say, CJ, say, they'll do her. CJ,
Last 10 years. That's all. First is not clinging to this life. Discipline, studying and meditating. From these three, you should eradicate attainment that comes from intention for this life.
That's all.
Now,
This somebody. Toma Tsushim Hietana, Tsushim Sangade, Tori Dubitawati, Tori Tovala Tsushim Gugres, Tori Top Gugres, Tarva Dubitamkaji, Tarva Duvala Tsushim Gugres, Dungar Bong Yamboche, Nasong Duganda, Meva Sheba, Masheva Sheba, Tsushim Gugres, Chesa, Lagatandek told it, Tsushim La Metamedat, Tsushim the Metamedi, Tsushim Kachambore somebody.
so the second line of these, first it is explained that discipline has the root of attainment to the higher realms. Means is the staircase that attains emancipation, and and has the antidote to abandon the suffering. Means that firstly, with regard to in order to explain the morality, we should know that morality is the route to achieve. Morality is route to produce the higher realms, as well as it is like a staircase to attain the liberation, and we should know that morality is antidote to overcome the sufferings.
Then sendele can be tutum the demo mochile chevale. Car seglisana, choje drubitavati, Tabadum, Yandatum, Jorvala Sopadrutace. Susan Yana Kevati, Sutu Yapo making tenole, then a map shake this. Susan Yapo Yanke Ronle Yasa Yanke Tesola, Traduce, Mineba here. Wrong is Sutum telling a national Moku making the kitchen. Moguche. Then I told him to get a car to Nando Nando to be Savante. That I will told him to Jumi to him, said them, they yo.
While no method is without discipline, clinging to this life combined with discipline has the root of the 8 worldly dharmas. Berating others' discipline as bad, jealous of the discipline of others, hypocrisy in one's own discipline, these are the seeds of attaining bad migrations. Eradicate such fabricated discipline. So this verse, in brief, shows that the morality which is maintained, morality which is maintained out of clinging to this life is not beneficial. Out of such out of such clinging, such followers possessing such morality normally berates other better spiritual persons. So now others berates others' morality, as well as such a person with such morality naturally become jealous of other better followers, and one's own morality or the morality becomes just a show off kind of activities, and such morality is not beneficial to overcome the suffering. It will only lead oneself to the bad migration, or oneself to the lower realms.
Then Kasi will to me by the Guru, to them Juguri, come on, Jesha. To me, opposite Gurus, Tomboke, to them, Tabadu Tunke, Toridu Tunke, Luna Bon Tunke, the Nagi to me opposite Guru, somebody.
So we must overcome such a morality. If asked, then what should we attempt? We should attempt to transform our morality into the genuine morality.
This one.
No.
Then to some she loves on she becomes out there, here's a trouble on setting. Then here's just an Yanten Shubazon. Marie servi dimensions and Londor Mehibat, Mariba, the Mebaching, Draman Tabu, Rowan Demi Lam Juchins, and Rowan Tarvi Lamland, Drambala, Jew Yankan, Sonja Chugotobia, Lobjon shared to some shared, Yehig Turi. just a Chuji 7 Jen. Then they get turned out into Tosan la Metam, Tosan Mazia Tabjun Yamas, Chu Lobjun Mazana Jun Tabia. Chu the kitchen, but a true shape would say, but Mahina says you are just a Lobjun kitchen. Is Metam.
The practitioner who studies and contemplates has the resources to attain knowledge, and has the light for dispelling ignorance, is familiar with the path that guides beings, and has the seat of the Dharma, while no method is without studying and complications. So this shows the importance of engaging ourselves in the studies and in the study, listening and contemplation, because the listening and then contemplation are the resource to attain the proper knowledge. So in order to engage in the practice properly and accordingly with the teaching of with the doctrine with the Buddha's doctrine, we need to gain proper knowledge within us. Without the knowledge we cannot practice. In order to gain the knowledge, we should give time to study and contemplate. And it is through the knowledge it can also overcome our ignorance. It makes the person as a guide, educated guide for other beings, and the knowledge which gained from studying and contemplating is a seed of the Dharmakaya.
Sendela can be to some, Sendeli can be to some, you may down this year. Then the rest will not Sendeli can be to some. Nader to be long set, Nadamo so then. To some member, to some music, Yajuchenke, to some Yao Yankin, Talu. Then Chu here cordon, long set. The next to something, Nando do it, Nando drew a reason. That I will project to some like you.
Clinging to this life combined with study and contemplation has the function of producing pride, belittling those inferior in study and contemplation, being jealous of those with study and contemplation, searching for followers and wealth, and is the root of bad migrations. Eradicate study and contemplation of the 8 dharmas. This means the hearing, studying and contemplation being done, being performed out of clinging to this life is not a genuine spirituality. Those who engage in these activities, studying and contemplating out of clinging to this life, they naturally belittle or despise the other followers who have no knowledge of the doctrine, who have no knowledge, who have no knowledge, or who have less knowledge of doctrine and the various kinds of practices. And such followers with the clinging to this life, or despite engage in this studying and contemplation, they naturally go after for our wealth and the post, and this becomes the bad route which leads him or herself into the bad dream next life. So we have to give up such actions motivated from the clinging to this life.
Gomba jibi konza, gom shengete, gom de Khenchen Appey nyamon pon nyamboche, nyamon gom pon go remember. To some time pon to mare. Talam dubi, tarwano, gomina tamiri, gom chena, da chambado to gungi. Nelu to be long setting. Then Hira Mombo, Hira Shuayan. Sonja drove his Savanchen. Sonja Toby Judy somebody. Just a Gamte, Sonja Tobatom, Nakatom Chetu. Made Tamiri, so Gam Segu, then they Gam Segu, somebody.
So with regard to the familiarization or the meditation, which says that it is very important to undertake the meditation or familiarization, because just spending time in studying and contemplating cannot overcome our negative emotions. These cannot overcome our negative emotions. They have to be eradicated from our mental stream through familiarizing ourselves in the understanding. So, with regard to the general, genuine practitioner, the practice of familiarization is the antidote to eradicate the defilements, and it is the familiarization in the understanding, especially the selflessness, is the root to attain the arhatship, and it is also the seed of producing Buddhahood within oneself.
Sendele mi debi gamba gamjente ke tamu botangere chevole sendeli hemba yimbi. Wemba debi ndonze gamse du sa wemba de me bar unchi biche de guyare. Choje gamse ngete so rengo tembo sa wemba ndone me mombo kuchene ndonze se de me mombo nyam dun teba. Tene longtemps ma kanan dan guyare te kanan manam se longtemps sana Dame become Momokia. Tumdame become Raps. Today, Kedege. To some saying it as all, Kurwate, Chu Mayimbanogi, Megubari, Kundamombochi. Gamba Yana, so Gam Sanke of Yanda, Traduci, Meneba here. Rongi Gamba, Nami, Gam said Nami Mevachi, Nami. Tendage, Danse Yavashuna, Jedin Choja Gam Chata. That tabu choja gamte pento yamares. Choja is something called like you, Yagana Yagarism.
With regard to the meditation or practice or familiarization being done out of the motivation out of clinging to this life, it is the practitioners who perform the meditation or the practice out of such a motivation, even though he supposed to be supposed to be abiding in an isolated place. They spend actually in a crowded sort of gathering, in the gathering, and there the recitation of the sadhanas is like spending time in idle sort of gossiping, and they naturally blame or criticize the other practitioners who genuinely engage themselves in the genuine studying and contemplation, and they naturally are jealous of other meditators, and their own meditation session is most of the time spent in a distracted state. Such kind of meditation or practice must give up. It's not beneficial. Senam de tangje zivaye tonne verdana panche ne gana je balon duaye sibe zole dono dorai jo jambe boye jida jamba na kondo sambo de ande yata kunje chezo Kondre